Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Graded Reader Level 3. Summary. Alice is a curious girl who follows a white rabbit down a rabbit hole and enters a fantastical world. There, she meets strange creatures and experiences curious events as she tries to find her way back home. And so, this extraordinary story begins. Story. Alice was sitting by her sister on the riverbank, feeling bored. She was tired of sitting and doing nothing. Suddenly, she saw a white rabbit with pink eyes run past her. The rabbit said, oh dear, I shall be late," and took a watch out of its pocket. Alice had never seen a rabbit with a pocket or a watch before, so she decided to follow it. The rabbit jumped into a large rabbit hole, and Alice followed. She fell down and down for a long time. While falling, she saw shelves and cupboards, maps and pictures. She even grabbed a jar of orange marmalade from a shelf, but it was empty. Finally, she landed softly on a bed of dry leaves. Alice got up and saw the white rabbit running down a long hallway. She quickly followed, curious about where it was going. She saw many doors, but they were all locked. Then she found a small key on a glass table. She tried the key on each door until she found a tiny door that led to a beautiful garden. But Alice was too big to fit through the door. She felt sad because she wanted to go into the garden. Alice saw a bottle labeled, "Drink Me." She drank a little and began to shrink until she was the right size to enter the garden. However, she had left the key on the table and couldn't reach it now. She saw a cake labeled, "Eat Me." She ate a piece and grew very tall. Now she could reach the key, but she was too big to enter the door. Alice cried in frustration, and her tears formed a pool around her. She saw a fan and gloves that the rabbit had dropped. When she picked them up, she began to shrink again, until she was small enough to swim in her own tears. She swam to the shore with other creatures, including a mouse, a dodo, and a lorry. They all sat down to dry off. The dodo suggested a caucus race to get dry. They ran around in circles until they were dry. Alice thought it was a very silly way to get dry, but it worked. She tried to talk to the animals, but they all left when they realized she had no prizes for them. Alice wandered through Wonderland, feeling lost and lonely. She met the Cheshire Cat, who could disappear and reappear. The cat gave her directions to the Mad Hatter's tea party. When she arrived, she found the Mad Hatter, the March Hare, and the Dormouse having a tea party. They were very rude to Alice, and she left feeling more confused than ever. Alice walked through the woods until she found the Queen's garden. The Queen of Hearts was playing croquet with her court. The game was very strange, because they used flamingos as mallets and hedgehogs as balls. The Queen kept shouting, "Off with their heads," whenever she got angry. Alice found herself at the Queen's trial. The King and Queen of Hearts accused the Knave of Hearts of stealing tarts. The trial was chaotic and made no sense to Alice. She stood up to the King and Queen, declaring that the trial was nonsense. The Queen shouted, "Off with her head." Alice felt a wave of fear and panic. She looked around desperately for a way to escape as the Queen's guards moved towards her. The world around her started to blur and spin. Suddenly, Alice felt a jolt and found herself waking up. She was back on the riverbank with her sister, realizing it was all a dream. But the adventure in Wonderland stayed with her, filling her mind with wonderful memories and lessons. The moral of the story. Curiosity and courage can lead to incredible adventures, but it's also important to know when to question and stand up to authority.